All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this morning's live commentary of the Jack Links 500 qualifying at the Talladega Superspeedway. The NASCAR Cup Series is back for the first time in a couple of weeks. Had the off week last week for Easter while the NASCAR Xfinity and NASCAR Truck Series took place at Rockingham in their return to the Rock. But as for this race here this weekend, again, the first time in 2 weeks. The last time we saw the NASCAR Cup Series in action was at the half-mile short track at Bristol Motor Speedway, where Kyle Larson was able to go on and dominate, leading over 400 laps and getting the win in that 500-lap race. His second win of the season. We'll see if he goes back-to-back this weekend. Though to do so, he's going to have to win on a super speedway and/or drafting-style racetrack for the first time ever. As far as this stream goes here today, this is the first of 3 live commentary streams on this NASCAR race weekend. So be sure to hit the like button on this stream, drives the viewership up. Appreciate those of you tuning in for this early morning action. Earliest start time to a stream, that we've had so far this season. We've only had a couple of morning streams this year, and this is actually the first one since Atlanta earlier in the season when we had qualifying in the morning before the truck race later on in the afternoon, followed by Xfinity. Oddly enough, a triple header there. And I mentioned triple header for today's streaming. Obviously, you have this stream. We will also be live for the ARCA General Tire 200 at Talladega, which will be in about 2 hours from now. We will also have NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage after that. That will be at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then I'm going to be hitting the road immediately after that Xfinity Series race later on this evening. And I'll be at Talladega for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race. So no live commentary tomorrow, but we do have a triple header today. And then on the road I go. And we will have race highlight videos from the grandstands for tomorrow's race at Talladega Superspeedway. So that's going to be the way you guys can maybe follow along on the channel. Hit the subscribe button as well. We are very close to 6,000. We only need 19 subscribers to get to 6,000 today. I think we're easily going to be able to do that, especially with 3 streams. But let's see if we can do that here in this stream and not have to wait for the ARCA race later on this afternoon. Ellen Talent, welcome to the stream. Patty at Rumdy Creations, welcome as well. Want Suarez or Bowman for the win to shut up the critics. Both of those 2 drivers, statistically speaking, not the greatest at Talladega. Surprisingly, Daniel Suarez was a little bit better than I thought. Daytona, his stats were awful earlier in the season there. Atlanta's a really good racetrack for him, but obviously not exactly the same and a way different drafting style track there compared to the likes of Talladega or Daytona. But he's had a few good finishes. I don't think he'll win, but I think he could potentially have a good run. Alex Bowman's very interesting at Talladega because he either runs really well and competes for the win or he's nowhere to be found. More often than not, he doesn't get the good finishes, but we shall see. We'll go through every driver in the field, obviously, as they qualify, and I'll give you guys some track facts for them specifically at Talladega. All 39 entrants for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race have ran at least 3 races at Talladega Superspeedway in the Cup Series, so nobody will be making their Talladega debut. It's a very experienced field, and especially in recent years, all these drivers have ran at least one next-gen race at Talladega as well. Anthony Alfredo will be the first driver to qualify here in a little bit. He's the first of 3 open entries. There will be 39 cars in the field this weekend. And our first 9 drivers to qualify will be Anthony Alfredo, as I mentioned, J.J. Yeley, B.J. McLeod, the 3 non-chartered entries, and then into the 36 chartered entries, the first of which will be Shane Van Gisbergen to qualify, then Cody Ware, Todd Gillen, Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon, and Cole Custer. So that'll start things off. And Anthony Alfredo has actually just hit the racetrack. He is currently on his warm-up lap and getting up to speed. As for Alfredo, he'll be making his 5th career start, at Talladega Superspeedway in the Cup Series. You wouldn't think he has that many starts, but he does. Remember, he was a rookie back in the 2020 season, ran full-time for Front Row Motorsports, and then he has also ran a couple of races in the 62 over the last couple of years with the Beard Motorsports team. He finished 6th in the spring race last season at Talladega, and Anthony Alfredo has some great stats here. 12th or better in 3 of his 4 Dega starts, so he's got finishes of 6th, 12th, 10th, and another finish outside the top 20. But 3 of those 4 starts to be 12th or better, that's pretty good track record. I think he could be a good dark horse pick for this weekend to maybe get a top 10. He's already 50-50 there on that, 2 for 4 with getting a top 10. He seems to take care of his equipment. Obviously, that team's not running for points, so there's no reason for him to be in contention for stage points. He can maybe save a little bit more fuel at the back of the pack, so on and so forth. Got an interview, first of which for the day coming up. Jamie Little is with Noah Gregson.
But I want to know how the infield, the Boulevard, treated you last night.
Oh, boy.
Probably hear from my boys. I was yelling a lot down there. We had a lot of fun. I can't say too much. You got to go. If you haven't ever been to the Boulevard, you got to come to Talladega. Words don't describe what the Talladega Boulevard's like. I can't tell you guys exactly what I saw down there, but I saw a lot. But I'm ready to go. This Roll King Ford Mustang has been fast. We finished third here last year, so qualifying, it's all about here. I threw in a double-decker, Lucy pouches, Lucy breakers. Shout out to those guys. Get me focused in to go faster on this track for 1 mile.
That's Noah Gregson, Mike. One of the things.
Health, yeah, he's definitely one of a kind. That's a good way to finish off that interview from Jamie Little. Anthony Alfredo posts a lap time of a 53.381 to start qualifying off. Now remember, on the drafting style racetracks, qualifying is 2 rounds. It is the only style of racetrack in which we see 2 rounds of qualifying, so very similar to recent years with the knockout. Top 10 will advance into round 2, and then in descending order positions 10 through 1, they will go out and make a second lap, which will restart the top 10. Only positions 11 through 39 will be based off of qualifying for round 1 specifically. And again, nobody will be going home because we have 39 of a possible allotted 40-car field. J.J. Yaley for New York Racing is now on the racetrack, and he is tracking in the red to that of Anthony Alfredo. Now, Alfredo's posted some decent qualifying laps in his time with Beard Motorsports, so I expect him to actually stay towards the top here for the early going of qualifying. That's a decent lap there of a 53.381, all things considered, for him. J.J. Yaley's best finish at Talladega is 11 2 different times, one with JGR, one with Rickware Racing, which was in 2023, just a couple of years ago. And he only has a couple of starts here with the 44 team that he is racing with today. He tried to qualify for the Daytona 500 with this team earlier in the season, failed to do so. He has made 2 other starts since then. As for Anthony Alfredo, the only attempt he has had at a cup race this season was the Daytona 500 earlier this year as well. 55.671 wrapping up the lap for Yaley, and BJ McLeod will now be up next. McLeod obviously already on the racetrack, working the outside lane. And if you're wondering why they're running the outside rather than the inside, trying to get up to speed, use that extra bit of asphalt possible to do so. Big distance from the double yellow line to the top. Plus, you can get the run down the straightaways off the top side of the racetrack to also try to help build momentum with the progressive banking up there. Over 30 degrees of banking on both ends of the racetrack here at Dega. BJ McLeod. As for him, this will be just his second attempt to make a cup race this year as well, as he failed to do so in the Daytona 500 earlier this year. So this is actually the first cup start for McLeod then technically in 2025. His Talladega stats, he actually does have 1 top 10 finish here. He does not. I was reading the wrong category there. His best finish is 18th at Talladega. That came in 2023 in the spring event. This is the 10th start for McLeod at Dega in his career. That was the stat line I was going to say. Not he has had a top 10, but it is his 10th start at Talladega this weekend, so he does have quite a bit of experience. And we've seen some decent speed as of late with the next-gen car with this 78. So led some laps. What was that in the dual race, I think? Not this year, but last year was leading in the duels at one point. So maybe he can perform, lead some laps along the way. That'd be great for that small Live Fast Motorsports race team. 54.103 for McLeod. That is second of our first 3 qualifiers. And now on to the chartered entries, starting with Trackhouse Racing's Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG in the 88 car outside the top 30 in points, still searching for his first top 10 of the season. Got quite a few road courses coming up in the summer months here. 3 in the span of 5 races. I think he can really get into a good stretch and good rhythm there. Super speedways haven't been great for him, even though that could be the great equalizer on the ovals with his development. He has had 2 races here at Talladega, both of them last season, and both obviously part-time with Colleague. He finished 15th and 28th. That 15th was in the fall last season, obviously the best of which. Tracking in the red to that of Alfredo, but he should be able to post a second place time once he gets to the start-finish line about 2/3 of the way down the front stretch. Try to pull up the chat on my phone real quick because I do not have that right now. Apologize for that. I shouted out a couple of you right before the qualifying action started. That ain't it. Clicked on the wrong stream. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Frank Powers, welcome to the stream. Wade Ace Alshire, welcome as well. Got your breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast. Awesome, man. Yeah, breakfast and NASCAR. What a duo. I like these morning streams, personally. Second, as I mentioned, for Shane Van Gisbergen, lap time was a 53.538 around this 2.66 mile beast of a super speedway oval. Once again, a reminder, ARCA at 12:30 Eastern here today on the channel. Xfinity race at 4 p.m. Eastern. Triple header coverage right here on KRC. It's definitely going to be the shortest stream of the day. No practice this weekend for Xfinity and Cup. ARCA did have practice yesterday. And they've had some testing obviously going on, but a lot less experienced drivers there. As far as the top 3 series go, no practice sessions on the super speedways outside of the lead up to Daytona at the start of the season. So both Atlanta races, the second Daytona date, and the 2 Talladega dates, no practice, but we will have qualifying. Qualifying for the Xfinity Series, their second round yesterday actually had gotten rained out, so they had to go back to the first round qualifying order there. There is no rain in the forecast for today, and I believe it's a 20% chance of rain tomorrow, so likely no rain for the race as well tomorrow afternoon. So as Cody Ware is on the racetrack as of right now, his best finish here at Talladega is 12th, which actually came last fall, and just like BJ McLeod, this is going to be the 10th start of Cody Ware's Cup Series career at Talladega. Prime, they don't do cartoon characters. Yeah, that is weird considering that everything else is Fox graphics. And obviously you got the Fox broadcast booth. I haven't mentioned yet on the stream, but obviously qualifying is on Prime Video. For the All-Star race here in a couple weeks, the qualifying session is actually going to be on FS1, but still got a couple more weeks for that. Here's Joey Logano with Jamie Little.
A lot of really cool people there to start off with, but also just an incredible honor to be a part of that. The Allison family, they started the Walk of Fame after David's passing, and Donnie Allison in particular has been a like family to me. It's really helped me out in my career. Wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Donnie. So to have him there and talk about a lot of the old memories of racing the Allison Legacy cars and coming here to Talladega for the first time and all the memories that come along with being here, the good and the bad, it's a pretty neat night for sure.
Great, Joey. Congratulations.
Todd Gillen now on the racetrack. As for Cody Ware, second of our first 5 qualifiers, 53.417 was the lap time for him. And for Todd Gillen, he had a top 10 here in 2022 where he finished 7th in the fall race. And he's actually got 4 top 12 finishes, 3 top 10s in his only 5 career Dega starts. So again, another one of those drivers who could potentially pull off a pretty good performance tomorrow of these first few qualifiers, who you wouldn't necessarily see towards the front of the field on most weekends. Great runs, obviously, for Todd Gillen at Talladega in his Cup career. It's a Ford. The Fords have dominated, mostly the Penske Fords on these super speedways or drafting ovals so far. Atlanta and Daytona earlier in the spring, dominated by Penske and the Wood brothers on the laps led category. Although they weren't able to win, it's still a Ford. And we've seen time in and time out that the Fords tend to run better at leading the line, being the push car, the second car in the line, trying to get somebody advanced forward. Gillen is one of those. Top of the board for Todd Gillen as well. Our first sub 53 second lap time. It's a 52.994, a few tenths faster than second place Anthony Alfredo. That gap will close as we get further through qualifying. Daniel Suarez is now on track. Our second of our 3 Trackhouse Racing entries this weekend. Best finish for Suarez in his Talladega career was also in 2022 in the fall, which he had finished 8th. He has 3 career top 10s, all 3 coming in the last 5 Dega starts, and all with Trackhouse Racing in the next gen car. So Not a great start to his career as far as trying to get some top 10s here at Talladega, but as of late it has been very good for on the drafting ovals to start this season at Daytona and Atlanta back in February. Maybe look out for Daniel Suarez to have a solid run tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, overcast skies right now. Very overcast, but the sun will come out later on. Probably second for Suarez. Yep, second, 53.191. Almost 2/10 off of the current top time from Gillen, which is again a 52.995, and an average speed on that lap of 180.696 for Gillen a couple of qualifying attempts ago. First of the two Dillon brothers, we'll start off with Ty Dillon for Colleague Racing. Full-time this season. Actually, I'd say outperformed what I have thought that he would have been able to do expectation-wise, and this could be another good track for him. He finished third in the fall race in 2020, and he's been very quietly consistent at Talladega. Going through his career stats, 8 times he has finished in the top 15 in 12 Talladega starts. That's a pretty solid average finish all the way around. Again, he's another one of those drivers that just seems to make it to the end of these races, time in and time out, gets decent finishes, a few top 10s to go along with it, but again, 8 top 15s in his 12 starts here. And he's raced for so many different teams too. That's the crazy thing also. Put him in whatever car, whatever generation of car, Gen 6, next gen, and he can get you home to the finish. Ty Dillon second on the speed charts of our first 8 qualifiers, 53.123. And that will leave Cole Custer to be our 9th driver out on the racetrack as he gets up to speed. Cole Custer, best finish 10th, 2021 in the spring, which would have been with Stuart Haas Racing when he was still full-time in the Cup Series then. And this will be the 7th start at Talladega for Cole Custer in his Cup Series career. Also in search for his first top 10 of the season with the newly refranchised Haas Automation for the Cup Series. Tracking in the green in that Ford as he begins his opening lap. Opening lap in which, if he does make it to the top 10, he will get a second lap for qualifying, and he is in the green still. Gained quite a bit of time through 1 and 2. Once he hit the back straightaway, that lap time is starting to drop off a little bit and get closer to that of Gillen, who is still at the top. It's going to be really close by the time he gets to the line. I'm not sure if there's a headwind down the back that could be causing that, a tailwind down the front stretch, because as he exits turn 4, he starts to pick up time that he might have been losing down the back stretch, and he's easily going to go to the top here. 52.941. Just over 0.05 of a second faster than Gillen for Custer. 2 Fords on the front row so far. And as Prime goes to the first commercial break during the qualifying coverage, we'll go through our next 9 drivers who will qualify, beginning with Riley Herbst, then Alex Bowman, Eric Jones, Michael McDowell, Zane Smith, Noah Gregson, John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Chris Buescher will be the next 9 drivers to qualify. 9 have already done it. As we continue with round 1 of knockout qualifying here at Dega for the Jack Links 500 on KRC. Stevie J, welcome to the stream. Shout out to NASCAR for doing the Cletus in-car live stream again. Yeah, oh yeah, they've been very much on the Cletus McFarland bandwagon this weekend as far as getting him as much promotion as possible this weekend at Talladega. I've seen way more of it this weekend than what we did back at Daytona in February. I feel like that kind of snuck up on us, and I think it snuck up on them as far as how much outreach he could bring into the sport. They saw that, and they were going to fully capitalize on it this weekend. This will be our 3rd consecutive year of doing live commentary for the ARCA race at Talladega. And we'll get to see that action here a little bit later on today. Just 200 miles, very short race. It was a wreckfest at Daytona. I really hope we don't see that again here today. We've seen some injuries in the ARCA race at Talladega in recent years, and there were some vicious crashes at Daytona earlier this season for that ARCA 200-mile race as well. So hopefully it's a good, safe race this afternoon. A lot of inexperience out there. Definitely leads into that potentially happening. Start park JJ Ely. I don't think he's going to start park necessarily. Not at Talladega, at least. Maybe at other tracks. I will say we don't really see that in the Cup Series, though. Especially with this next-gen car. You're an open entry and you make it into the field, they pretty much stay on the track and they end up finishing like 10 to 12 laps down. They don't have an actual issue or a mechanical failure throughout the course of the race, but I don't think they necessarily start and park. They'll run at least like half the race before that. Yeah, we're getting close to NASCAR Cup Series races being on Amazon Prime. May 25th, the Coke 600. And obviously practice qualifying will continue to be on Amazon Prime through the rest of the first half of the season, outside of, again, All-Star Race weekend here in a couple of weeks. That will be on FS1 when the time comes. The race tomorrow will be on your local Fox affiliate. If you're wondering where you can watch visually, as again, we will not have live commentary for that. I will be at the race tomorrow. Race highlights from the grandstands will be uploaded later that night. All right, so Riley Herbst is on the racetrack. He's got 2 career starts at Talladega, both with Rick Ware Racing, where he finished 9th and 20th back in 2023. Did not run a Cup race here last season, but 23, Rick Ware Racing, 9th and 20th, and that 9th place finish came in the fall. Larry Mack is standing with William Byron.
Yeah, it's definitely, the most exciting part is getting through the gears. So just trying to do my job there, and then going out there and going full speed again. It's been a couple weeks, so it's nice to be back in the race car. And honestly, had a great great Easter weekend. It was nice to have that with the family, and then just but I miss being in the race car. I miss going fast. I miss kind of competing. So I'm looking forward to being back in that.
Well, he'll be back, all right. 28 consecutive weeks all the way to the end of the year without a break.
Well, it's quite a stretch run. And
Speaking of consecutive, William Byron, while they were talking to him there, has the longest active top 10 streak at Talladega. 4 straight races. He has finished in the top 10, 7th or better in all 4. He has yet to get his first career win at Dega, although he has several wins across super speedways. Obviously 3 at Daytona, including the last 2 Daytona 500s, 2 at Atlanta. So he has accomplished a lot. He's finished runner-up a couple times at Talladega, but can he get his first win here tomorrow? I thought about taking it for the win just based off of those stats alone, but at the same time, just the luck involved in this race, I'm like, there's no way he wins the spring Daytona and Talladega race in the same season, especially considering he didn't really have a great car in the Daytona 500. Probably one of the best of the Chevys, but not a race-winning car necessarily. He was able to get the win while running 9th on the beginning of that final lap. Herbst times in 4th as the first Toyota to hit the racetrack. 53.157 was his lap time. Our first of 4 Hendrick Motorsports Chevys, Alex Bowman on the racetrack. His best finish here was also a runner-up. He finished second 19. Caution came out in the final lap. He finished second to his teammate of Chase Elliott there. He's only got 2 top 10s in the 5 next-gen races at Talladega. He's only got a handful of them in his Cup career at Dega. So, very hit or miss for Alex Bowman this weekend as to how well he'll run. Hendrick had decent speed back in the Daytona 500 specifically earlier this season. And even at Atlanta as well, I felt like they were the second-tier team to that of Penske. I'd say even more so than some of the other Ford programs like RFK. I thought that they performed better than them through the first 2 drafting ovals. So that's another reason I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw a William Byron go to victory lane. Maybe Chase Elliott, who has won here at Talladega a couple of times as well, including once with the next gen, where he beat Ryan Blaney, a Penske car, in a photo finish 2022 in the fall. That was actually at that race, and as a Blaney fan, that one hurt. And I had like 2 screaming grown women Chase Elliott fans sitting behind me, like it almost felt like they were rubbing it in my face. Actually, they should have saw that I was wearing a bunch of Blaney merch. I was like, man, that one stings. And then they're just cheering like no other behind me. I mean, they couldn't have been any more obnoxiously loud, and I feel like it just carried on and on and on. I'm like, okay, you can be quiet now. I get it. Your favorite driver won. It's a cool experience. I've seen that once before. So maybe it was their first time seeing that. But in the moment, I was thinking about myself, and I felt bad. It's just kind of a funny side story there. Maybe I'll have another one tomorrow. And I'll share that with you guys next weekend for our live commentary action coming from Texas Motor Speedway. Eric Jones on the racetrack, another one of those sneaky good drivers at Talladega. Runner-up for the 2020 fall race for Eric Jones is his best finish here. He has 7 top 10s in his last 10 starts at Talladega. He's finished 6th or better in 6 of those last 10 starts. Very consistent, but not in the way that, say, Ty Dillon is consistent here with maybe just the attrition side of things, and even more consistent than Todd Gillen on those sleeper picks that I mentioned already. Anthony Alfredo, he's got a bigger sample size as well. Eric Jones, I think, could be one of the contenders for the win tomorrow.
It's all about it. But
What the heck?
once again, last week everybody was off, but you were actually working with us in the booth for the truck race. What'd you think of that experience being an analyst for the trucks?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Being able to be there and call the race. I know when I sit at home, I'm always like, man, I want to say this, or I'd love to say this, or I'd love to add this. And you've always thought about what you would say as a kid and everything. So to be able to do that is super cool, especially Rockingham with Spire, helping promote, do that whole race. It was just a lot of things coming together for that weekend. I would have been at Rockingham anyways. I got to do it at Xfinity and go see all my buddies and do everything. And I love being in a racetrack. And if I can't race, I'd rather call it. So it was a lot of fun.
Good to see you here. And he'll be back in the truck, Mike, coming up the next couple of weeks. He'll be back behind the wheel.
Well, you folks are.
And he has had several Truck Series starts, I think, already this season. He's ran a couple of races. I know he ran Homestead. He might have ran another one as well. As far as Hocevar goes, his teammate Michael McDowell currently wrapping up his qualifying lap. And as for Michael McDowell, he's got a career best finish of 3rd at Talladega, which came with the Next Gen 2022 in the fall. He led quite a few laps here with Front Row Motorsports last season as well. 42 and 36 laps led between both of the Talladega Cup Series races. Second on the speed charts for Michael McDowell, splitting up the 2 Fords who were on the front row at the time, 52.991. McDowell actually qualified on the pole at Talladega for both races here a season ago as well. We actually have 6 active drivers who have qualified on the pole at Talladega. You would think that list would be larger, but it's actually not. A lot of the drivers through the late 2010s are now retired or maybe aren't racing full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series anymore. Through the early 2010s and the tandem era, we had a lot of random drivers qualifying on the pole. Like Travis Kvapil had one I saw. There were several others that never had a win in their Cup career, but were able to qualify on the pole here at Talladega. So, again, only 6. Those drivers would be 2 times for Michael McDowell, again, both last season. Christopher Bell in 2022 swept the pole at Talladega. Chase Elliott has 2 of them, both in the Gen 6 car, 2019 fall and 2016 spring. Hamlin, 3 times most of any active drivers qualified on the pole here, 2023 in the spring. 2021, he swept the pole in both races. And then Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. each have 1 pole. Stenhouse only won here in the Stadil in 2019 in the spring, also had qualified on the pole. Zane Smith to the top of the speed charts, 52.660, as now we're back to 2 Fords at the top yet again. 21st is the best finish for Zane Smith at Talladega in his first 3 Dega starts. That came in the fall of last season. This will be his 4th start at Talladega, and he should have a pretty good chance of starting up in the top 10. That 52.660, blistering fast, almost 3/10 quicker than Cole Custer's 2nd place time. I think he's definitely going to stay in the top 10. And he'll have a shot to go for the pole in round 2, if that is the case. Noah Gragson now on the racetrack. You heard an interview from him earlier. Best finish for him was actually last spring at Talladega, where he finished 3rd with Stuart Haas Racing. Front Row Motorsports in the number 4, first year with that team. Team's had speed on several occasions this year, but hasn't been able to get a string of good finishes outside of the lone top 10 back at COTA on our first road course event of the year, where he did finish in the top 10, ended up 8th that day. 1 top 10 finish at 5 career Cup starts at Talladega, which again, that top 10 was last spring. Over half a second off of the pole lap, and that's definitely not going to be a lap that's going to hold him up in the top 10, despite running in a Front Row Motorsports Ford. Very interesting to see what he might have did different there, because his teammate who went just before him set the fastest time of the day. For Gregson, 9th, 53.263 on his qualifying lap. And obviously, again, 1 lap per driver. And the top 10 advance to round 2 and have a shot to re-qualify for the pole. Michael Turner, Monster Jam X10, welcome to the stream. Big Blaney fan too. Well, we'll be rooting together tomorrow. That's cool. Bam Hall, welcome to the stream. Late because you're at the store. That's understandable. It is still morning hours all across the U.S. Early morning if you're on the West Coast. 7:30 a.m. start time for this stream today. John Hunter Nemechek for Legacy Motor Club is out on the racetrack. He has finished 8th here 2 times. That was in 2020 in his rookie season in the Cup Series. Back with Front Row Motorsports. Last season at Talladega, not so good. 31st and 33rd. He's the only driver to finish outside the top 30 in both Dega races last season. So we'll see if he will have better luck this year. He did finish in the top 10 in both of our earlier drafting oval races this season, Atlanta and Daytona. Him and Ryan Blaney were the only 2 drivers to finish in the top 10 in both of those races to start the season. 10th for Nemechek, 53.337 on his lap time. And he does have the title sponsor on his car this weekend as well. Jack Links for the Jack Links 500. I didn't even realize this was the title sponsor of the race until like a month ago when I was looking at tickets and ticket prices. And I was like, oh, Geico's not sponsoring this race anymore. That's interesting. I had no idea. I was just so used to it being the Geico 500 for a long time. It was the Aaron's 499 for a long time before that. And I think it's been Geico ever since Aaron's dropped the title sponsorship. It's been more than 10 years for sure. But Jack Links is now carrying on the Spring Dega event. I'm curious to see how long they will have the title sponsor for that. All right, Stenhouse, most recent winner at Dega. He's a 2-time winner here, 2017 in the spring, and last fall he had won. He had a top 10 in both of his races here last season as well. Finished 4th in the spring and then again 1st in the fall. So Stenhouse, Talladega, it just fits right. And this is obviously one of his few chances to more than likely get a win with that JTG Doherty team and try to get him into the playoffs. Unfortunately, with it coming in the fall last year, it didn't really help his points finish by the season's end because he didn't qualify for the playoffs. The playoffs had already started by that point. He started deep in the field in both of those races last year, so even if he qualifies deep in the field again here today, don't be surprised to see him up there racing towards the front. 53.534 was the qualifying lap for Stenhouse, 14th of 17, only better than one other charter driver, which was SVG. Chris Buescher, our first RFK Ford of the 3 to hit the racetrack. We'll actually have 3 consecutive Fords hit the track here. Cool looking colors on that car this weekend for Buescher with the TA sponsorship. You get the red, white, and blue on there. I mean, it just pops real well on a race car. Might be a little biased because I live in America, but that's needless to say. Chris Buescher, best finish at Dega, 3rd, and it was with the Next Gen in 2023 in the spring event that season. He only has 3 career top 10s, though, and 19 career starts at Talladega. Not a great track for him, despite the fact that he has been in a Ford for a vast majority of those races. And again, Fords seem to just have speed on the Super Speedway ovals. It was like that in the Next Gen, obviously in the Next Gen. They've been the dominant car on the Super Speedways ever since the Daytona 500 in 2022 when they debuted, and Austin Cindric won the race, and Ryan Blaney was right there behind him. Finished 3rd, I believe, coming to the line in the finish of that event. Led a lot of laps in the duels that year, so seemed to be quick, but they were pretty quick in the Gen 6 era, especially when they got to the high downforce high drag package. With what Dale Jr. would say, the giant-ass rear spoilers that they were using at that time. They were pretty good there also. I just think the boxier nose of the Mustangs allows for them to be able to push other vehicles, even if it's not another Mustang that they're pushing. If it's another Mustang that they're pushing, they're just going to lock on beautifully. But Yeah, that flat nose, it's not crowned like a Camaro or a Camry. And they've tried to flatten the noses out a little bit more on the Chevys and Toyotas in recent years to match that of these Mustangs on the super speedways. They just haven't been able to do it and succeed at it. All right, so after Chris Buescher wrapped up his lap time, he did break into the top 10, and he was second quickest, 52.907. His teammate Brad Keselowski is on the racetrack. Most wins of any active driver for Keselowski at Dega, where he has 6 wins. He's actually finished runner-up 4 times as well. He is that close to being with Dale Earnhardt at 10 wins all-time at Talladega Superspeedway. And he actually finished second in both races here last season. So Keselowski could be a very strong competitor for the win tomorrow. Just qualified 8th, 53.1. See here, I got to scroll down the screen. 53.139 for Brad Keselowski. Again, 8th place right now. Yeah, I was looking through that, and I was like, man, I didn't realize he finished second that many times, too, including both races here, again, last season. He hasn't won in a next-gen car at Talladega, so it's been a while since his last win here. He was actually at his last win at Dega, which would have came in the 2021 spring race. Spring of 2021. That was actually the last win he had with Penske, and the last win he had for over 100 races before he was able to break that winless streak at Darlington in the spring last season. Fresh to the chat. See what we got going on down there. Najee's Amazing Cars and NASCAR Diecast. Welcome to the stream. Also a big Penske fan. Got 19 likes in the stream. We got well more than that many people watching. Be sure to hit the like button, everybody. Our like goal is 50 for today's stream. Zane Smith still at the top of the speed charts with a 52.661, and he still got over 2/10 to second. Mighty big gap. His front row motorsport teammates, nowhere near that time. Gillen's still in the top 10. He's currently 5th. We'll see if he can hold on. We're only halfway through qualifying, though. A lot of fast cars still to go. None of the Penske cars have hit the racetrack yet. I think they can maybe match Zane Smith's time as well, especially Cindric and Logano. Blaney seems to not qualify quite as well as the other two. Josh Berry qualified in the top 10 for both of the races here earlier this season on the Speedway ovals. Started on the front row, actually, at Atlanta. Ended up winning the first stage of that race. And speaking of the Penske Fords, the next driver is a Penske Ford, that being Joey Logano. Logano just firing off of pit road. Our next qualifiers will have Joey Logano, Ryan Preece, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, then Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, Josh Berry. Those are the next 10 drivers to qualify. So as Logano gets to speed on his warm-up lap, we'll go through his statistics at Talladega Superspeedway next. And as for Joey Logano, he's a 3-time winner at Talladega. He has not won here with the next-gen car. He's actually had 6 straight finishes of 16th or worse at Talladega. Sorry, 19th or worse, not 16th. 6 straight finishes of 19th or worse at Dega for Joey Logano. So again, the next-gen car here, he just doesn't seem to get good finishes, but the speed has been there. Jamie Little getting a quick interview now with Jeff Gordon on pit road.
Doing this, we reconvene here and get back to the racetrack.
Yeah, right. That kind of reset and really getting some energy back, because it's never lasts a while because we don't have another off weekend. So I was walking around our campus the other day this week, and everybody's real thankful to have that weekend off. But now they're ready to go and excited to be here. Excited to have Amazon Prime as a partner on here. So the qualifying and practice shows have been great. So we can't wait to get started with them in a few weeks. But and Chase is going to do a great job. And also just want to say something about Dr. Petty. We're honoring him this week. Huge loss, not only in the medical field and for us friends and family, but to this industry. He had a huge impact on so many people's lives.
as it relates to safety, taking care of people, and I was one of many, so we're gonna miss him a lot.
Well said, and just want to thank Hendrick Motorsports as well. John Edwards had a celebration of life last week in Charlotte, in Concord, actually, Mike, and they sent a plane up to Indianapolis to fly a bunch of us down so we could celebrate the life of John Edwards. And you were so eloquent as always, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a tough couple weeks.
Joey Logano third, 52.909. Just off of the front row time, but again, he will have at least a second opportunity if he qualifies in the top 10, which he should. Definitely going to have to be in the 52s. I don't think those 53s will stand. 53.660. If Zane Smith's able to back that up in round number 2, I don't think anybody's touching him. I think we might see Zane Smith get his first career pole in the NASCAR Cup Series today if that keeps up. That's the hard part, is he's going to have to replicate that time. He was able to do something that not a lot of other drivers in similar equipment on the Ford side of things are able to do, because we do have 4 Fords in the top 4 positions right now, but Smith is almost 3/10 ahead of second on back. Ryan Preece, another Ford for RFK on the racetrack, the last of the 3 RFK Fords, and he's tracking in the green to easily get in the top 10. Preece's best finish at Talladega was with JTG Doherty Racing in 2019. He finished 3rd. He had 1 top 10 here at Dega with Stuart Haas Racing in his last 4 starts, all with the next gen through 2024 and 2023. Wrapping up the qualifying lap through the tri-oval here for Preece. And he is going to get to the top 10, second, 52.8 flat for Ryan Preece. Solid lap. Well, now the increment between first and second is barely over a 10th. And Preece qualified well earlier this season at Daytona. Started up in the top 5, or at least qualified up in the top 5, so maybe Preece could go for the pole. Justin Haley for Spire Motorsports announced earlier this week Rodney Childers going to be leaving the team. And they didn't say it was a performance issue necessarily as to why they let him go, but still a questionable decision to have that kind of an experience leave the team, especially as early in the year as they did. I mean, you got to consider the fact also he wasn't even with the team until the winter, as he was wrapping up with Stuart Haas Racing a season to go. So a very short stint for Childers at Spire Motorsports. Back to Justin Haley, though. 6th and 7th in 2 of the last 3 Dega races. His best finish, obviously, of 6th was 2023 in the fall event that year. 31 car with Colleague Racing at that time. Haley wrapping up his qualifying lap well outside the top 10. 20th for Haley of a 53.562. Chase Briscoe standing now with Larry McReynolds.
Car on the pole, 4th in the Daytona 500. That has to give you confidence for today, and more importantly for tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, gives you a little bit of added confidence whenever you know your car was fast, and it drove good at Daytona too. So, yeah, not sure what we're having today. It's obviously a different racetrack. There's different characteristics about this place, but should still have a really good driving Master Shop's Toyota. So, yeah, see what we got and trying to hold a line open and see where it's next.
Like after that 4th place finish in the 500, a little rough sledding for the 19 car, but they've come to life here lately. 4th place finishes in those last 3 or 4 races.
You're right, Larry. They have. They're one of a couple of teams that have really stepped it up here these last couple of weeks.
Austin Cindric on the racetrack. He has 1 top 5 here at Talladega, which came in the fall race not last season, but 2023. Last 3 races at Dega. Speed has been there for sure, again for the 2. So Daytona 500 champion. Led a bunch of laps already this season, mostly on the Speedway ovals. He led quite a few laps and actually won a stage at Las Vegas earlier in the year as well. 159 laps led total on the season for Cindric. Over 100 of those laps, though, were between Atlanta and Daytona at the start of the year. So he may lead a bunch more laps tomorrow in the Quaker State Ford Mustang as he starts in the top 10 more than likely, because he just dropped to 52.873, which is 3rd fastest in qualifying. Faster than Logano, his teammate who had already made a lap. And again, in that 52, which should easily be able to get him in the top 10 by the end of qualifying. Bubba Wallace for 2311 Racing on track. Surprisingly, you would think that Wallace, as good of a super speedway racer as he is, or at least that I would probably think that he is, way better finishes at Daytona than that of Talladega. He's only got 2 top 10 finishes in his career at Talladega, and that ranges over 14 starts with obviously both 2311 Racing and with the 43 car at the time when he drove for RPM. Obviously rebranded now to Legacy Motor Club, but that wasn't the case when he was there. Both of his top 10 finishes have come with 2311 Racing. The win here in 2021 in the fall in the rain shortened race, and then he also had a top 10 with the next gen car in recent years as well. But again, those are his only 2. It's going to be close to 10th place to get inside the bubble. He's going to bump Ty Dillon, 10th, 53.122. 1/1000th of a second faster than Dillon to bump him. I don't think that that's going to be able to hold on, especially knowing that we still have another Penske car, Ryan Blaney, to go. Carson Hocevar is on the racetrack right now, qualified top 10 in both of the drafting ovals earlier this season. Should put together a pretty good lap, you would think, here at Talladega also. Although Justin Haley, who went not that long ago, is 22nd of 24, so maybe that won't be the case. We'll have to see. It's strange that Justin Haley, not Yaley. Justin Haley's as far down on the leaderboard as he is in qualifying, because Michael McDowell is still in the top 10 in 7th with a 52.991. So that's what I would think that Carson Hocevar would be able to do. Hocevar gets off of turn 2 down the backstretch, though. He's tracking in the red, and it's by 7 to 800ths of a second, and dropping still into turn 3. So he'll pick some of that time back up on the front stretch with the tailwind, but doesn't look like Hocevar is going to qualify in the top 10 this weekend. 14th is his best finish here. 14th and 17th of both starts last season. This will be the 4th career start for Hocevar at Dega, as he ran here once in his part-time season as well. Is he wearing sunglasses on his qualifying lap? I've never seen that before. Riding in style, I guess. That might be the first time I think I've ever seen a driver wear sunglasses underneath their visor. And their visor is open, too. He's got a tinted visor with the sunglasses on and the visor up. That's hilarious. Here's Ryan Blaney with Jamie Little.
Boom. How was that experience?
Oh, boy.
Just check out and think about racing for a few days?
That was nice. It was nice to have a little time off, and yeah, we pushed our honeymoon back a few months past our wedding. So yeah, it was great. Just nice to spend time with each other and relax. And so yeah, we had a great time, and now it's time to go back to work.
All right, Ryan Blaney looking for his first pole here at Talladega.
A great guy, Kevin. We accidentally pushed ours back too far. It kind of morphed back into business as usual at the weekend, the old honeymoon.
Austin Dillon on the racetrack. Runner-up here in 2022 spring event. Finished 8th last fall, so he's got a couple of top 10s with RCR, specifically with the next-gen car here at Talladega. We'll see if he can have another one this weekend. He's looking really quick in qualifying, though. Kyle Busch qualified in the top 10 in both of the Speedway drafting ovals at Daytona and Atlanta earlier this year, though Dillon didn't. But with the lap time that Austin Dillon's about to put down, I think he is going to be in the top 10 here this weekend. 4th, 52.89. 52.89 for Austin Dillon. That's a great lap. And now to Tyler Reddick, who was our last of the 32311 Toyotas. Reddick won the spring event last season. First and only win he's had on a drafting oval in his NASCAR Cup Series career. And it was the only win Toyota's ever had on a drafting oval up until Christopher Bell won at Atlanta earlier this season, at least with the next-gen car, of course. Denny Hamlin's got a few Daytona 500s and a couple wins at Dega, but as far as the next-gen car goes, that would have been their only one up until this last spring. So 2 in a calendar year for him. So then 3rd on the final lap, a crash just in front of him, and gets by McDowell. Keselowski through the tri-oval to win. Looks like he's going to be just again. He won here last fall, but that is his only top 10 finish in his last 7 starts at Talladega. So, although he had a win year, consistency has been lacking on the good finishes. I guess he's been consistently bad at Talladega up until last spring, but yeah, for the fall, we shall see what's going to happen here. All right. So again, just outside the top 10 for Reddick, 16th, 53.222. And on to Kyle Busch, who was the spring winner here a couple seasons ago in the Next Gen, 2023. This is the last time I was at Dega. And I've seen Kyle Busch win a couple of times now, both in weird ways. Fuel mileage at Pocono back in 2021, and last lap where there was a crash, and that was the only lap he led the entire race at Talladega a couple seasons ago. So if he's going to win tomorrow, it might be in weird fashion, though. He's had some great cars with the Speedway Oval since he has come to RCR. Even though he didn't lead a lap that day, you had to expect him to be fast going in. He's been close to winning the Daytona 500 a couple of times as well. And again, he qualified top 10 in both of the spring races earlier this year. He's actually one of, I believe, 3 Chevys who did qualify up in the top 10 at Atlanta earlier this season. And he's tracking to be well inside the top 10. Not quite as quick as Austin Dillon, I don't think, but he is going to be well inside the top 10. He actually picked up a lot of time off turn 4 with that tailwind through the tri-oval. Might actually be a little bit closer to Dillon's lap time, if not exceeding that, than what I thought originally. Third, yeah, he was. Couple spots higher, 52.813 for Kyle Busch. Busch, a 2-time winner here. I mentioned 2023 in the spring. He also won the spring race back in 2008 as well. Qualified top 5 in both Dega races last season. So we'll see if he can make it 3 top 5 starts in a row at Talladega today. Josh Berry, who had a stage win at Atlanta earlier this year, qualified on the front row in that race. Looking for another solid qualifying start and effort here today at Talladega. With this Wood Brothers team, he has a win already on the year. Has kind of fallen off a bit from the speed that they had very early in the season. With the Speedways winning at Vegas, top 5 at Phoenix, was leading laps at Martinsville before a battery issue in the early going of that race. But ever since that Martinsville race, though, they haven't had any speed whatsoever. Nowhere near the top 10. But it's only been a couple of races. Good to get back on it this week, coming off the off week, knowing you're back to another Speedway Oval where you should have pretty good equipment. As for Berry last season, 16th and 34th. And those are his only 2 career starts at Talladega in his Cup career. Berry will bump Todd Gilliland from the top 10 by just over 1/10 of a second. 6th for Berry, 52.903. Times are very tight right now between 6th and really 8th. So I feel like if anybody is to get bumped, Custer, McDowell, I don't know that I see anybody else breaking the top 10 after that. I think Ryan Blaney could get up there for sure. I mean, there's a couple Hendrick cars left, but I don't know that they're going to be any quicker than Bowman, who's outside the top 10. We'll see. We'll see. That's the fun part. We just don't know for sure. Our last drivers to qualify, we got 10 more to go in round 1, and then again, the top 10 will re-qualify for the pole in round 2. You got Chase Elliott left, then AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. Larson will finish things off for round 1. And as of right now, your top 10, Zane Smith, fastest time, 52.661, 181.842 mile per hour average. Also in the front row, you have Ryan Preece. And then behind them, Kyle Busch, 3rd, Austin Cindric, 4th, Austin Dillon, 5th, Josh Berry, 6th, Chris Buescher, 7th, Joey Logano, 8th, Cole Custer, 9th, and Michael McDowell in the hot seat with a 52.991 is in 10th. No Toyota's up in the top 10 right now, by the way. But a Toyota qualified on the pole in the Daytona 500 earlier this year of Chris Buescher. So there's still hope Or sorry, not Chris Buescher, Chase Briscoe. The other CB. JC1424, welcome to the stream. God Rides a Harley, welcome to the stream as well. Going with Christopher Bell for the win. It's been over 60 races since Bush's last win. It's getting up there. Got Chase in your private pool. There you go. For $1. For the pole or for the win? Probably for the win tomorrow, I would assume. So again, thanks for everybody tuning in. 23 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 50. So be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Cup Series qualifying continues. Let's see here. Got the chat poll up right now, 70 votes. That's way more than we have likes, so I appreciate you guys voting in the poll. Be sure to hit the like button along the way as well. 46 say Chevrolet will qualify on the poll here today. That is a bold pick. Though Kyle Busch has speed. Austin Hill and Kyle Busch are in the top 5. Looks like it's going to be an RCR Chevy if somebody does get the poll for Chevrolet. Ford, who currently has the front rows at 41%, and 13% say Toyota, which again, there are no Toyotas in the top 10. We'll keep that poll open until we get to the end of stage 1. At the end of qualifying round number 1, then we'll close the poll. Kyle Larson standing with Larry McReynolds.
Hard crash up there.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it wasn't too bad of a crash, but yeah, just unfortunate. So, but would rather kind of get that out of the way in April rather than May. So, yeah, hopefully we can get a little bit better before we go back. But still was good to be there back in IndyCar. The speed is definitely fast. So hopefully I'll make things seem slower once we get out here today. But yeah, it's been a fun couple weeks, and now just ready to get back in the IndyCars.com Chevy.
Well, that was Indy. Our last broadcast, you made it tough on us to broadcast Bristol, but that was Bristol. How about Talladega this weekend?
Yeah, Talladega will be very different than Bristol. Probably be 4 wide, jammed up. But yeah, so we'll see. Just try to execute well. Hopefully we can qualify decent here and try to stay up front. I felt like Daytona I didn't have a good duels, and then we were just kind of stuck in the back all day long. So qualifying is still important, so need to do a good job here.
Well, Mike, because of that Bristol win, he will be the last car to go out in this first race.
Yeah, Hexler with the new metric. Qualifying. Chase Elliott may not make the top 20. He does not 20.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to have 4 wide and stacking up going on at Talladega tomorrow. I don't think Kyle Larson has watched back a race or has remembered much of the race that we've seen with the next-gen car on the super speedways, but I don't remember any of that happening. That's funny. I don't think he's done his homework for this weekend, which is why I'm not taking Kyle Larson for the win tomorrow. Well, I mean, there's other reasons why. I just don't think he's figured it out. Maybe one day he'll win on a speedway oval. I think his best chance to do so is probably at Atlanta, but I don't know. You never know. It'd be cool to see him get a Daytona 500 at some point. Let's see here. We did have one driver qualifying, which was, of course, Chase Elliott. You guys probably want to know where he is at on the list. Trying to find him. 22nd for Chase Elliott in qualifying. Wow. Bowman outside the top 10, but he's currently 12th. 10 spots worse for Chase so far. 53.345 for him. Elliott has 2 career wins at Talladega. 2019 in the spring event and in the fall of 2022. He's finished 15th or better in 5 of the 6 next-gen races. So he seems to get to the end of these next-gen races at Talladega. Decent finishes to boot. Chase Elliott, though, going to be having to try to get a good finish starting in the back half of the field tomorrow. AJ Allmendinger wrapping up his lap time in qualifying. 13th for AJ. And his lap time was a 53.084. So not quite going to get into the top 10. 1 top 5 in his career at Talladega. Finished 5th in 2014 in the spring event. His 3 starts at Dega with Colleague Racing, who of course he is racing with this weekend. 28th, 20th, and 29th in those 3 starts. All in the next-gen car also. Again with Colleague for AJ Allmendinger. Ty Gibbs is on the racetrack, trying to be the first Toyota to maybe break up into the top 10. We haven't seen a lot of the JGR Toyotas hit the racetrack yet. In fact, he's the first of the 4 JGR Toyotas, and they do seem to have more speed than 2311 right off the rip. Obviously, again, they did qualify on the pole for the 500, so there could be an opportunity. Maybe take down Zane Smith here in round 1. Got to make it through round 1 to round 2 first to have a chance. And Gibbs is tracking in the green as of right now to maybe bump Michael McDowell. As he exits turn 4, he should get the tailwind and pick up a little bit of time. So Ty Gibbs will get up into the top 10. We'll see exactly where he's going to slide. He should be at least 9th as he crosses the stripe. 9th, yep, 52.914. Just behind Logano. 0.005 of a second off of getting another spot. Yeah, it's very tight right now. 6th through 9th, Barry through Gibbs are only separated by 1/100th of a second. So it's going to be tough. I don't think we're going to see many more lap times get above where Barry is in 6th for the rest of this first round. And if we do, the gain between being above or below that cut line is going to be, it's going to be very, very tight. Cole Custer's on the hot seat right now with the 52.941. Currently on the track is Ross Chastain. Trackhouse not qualifying well here today. They haven't qualified well in the speedways, super speedways so far yet this season. And Chastain's going to be well outside the top 10 on his lap. Chastain is a former Dega winner. And in fact, that was his only top 10 with the next gen car, which was in the first next gen race at Dega 2022 in the spring. So he has had 5 straight finishes outside the top 10 since then. And again, he'll be starting deep in the field for tomorrow. So he continues to lose time to that of the top 10. 26 so far for Ross Chastain, 53.399. Not as good as his teammate Daniel Suarez, better than SVG on the qualifying side of things for Chastain. And now we got the Daytona 500 pole sitter Chase Briscoe, who is on the racetrack. '14th or better in 6 of 8 career starts for Briscoe at Talladega, all of which would have came in the 14 car with SHR and a Ford. Different manufacturer here with the Toyota. On top of qualifying on the pole, though, in the 500, he also finished 4th, so all around had a really good car that day. Was up in the top 10 for most of the Atlanta race as well. Speed shouldn't be an issue for Chase Briscoe. We shall see if he can capitalize and get a good finish. His speed in qualifying, though, doesn't look to be around where his teammate Ty Gibbs is at. He should pick up a little bit of time on the front stretch when he gets the headwind, and he's going to be really close to trying to bump Cole Custer. I think he can get at least 11th on the front stretch here on McDowell, but there's a half a tenth difference between Custer and McDowell. I don't know if he can pick that up. Oh, he actually lost time getting off of turn 4. I'm not sure what happened there. Was expecting a little bit of an increase. That didn't happen. Maybe 12th, 13th, somewhere around there. 13th for Briscoe, 53.061. So he will not qualify not only on the front row, but not even in the top 10. Nobody has been close to Zane Smith's lap. But Ryan Preece might have something for him in round 2. But if Smith is able to drop another 52.6, good luck to anybody getting the pole here today. He has a hiccup getting up to speed. That could happen. He's still a young driver. Could make a mistake there. Sports Clip colors for Christopher Bell this weekend. That's not usual. It's going to be Bell. Good thing I'm not commentating the race tomorrow because I might make that mistake a couple of times. And I'll probably make that a couple times in the crowd while I'm watching. As for Bell, let's see here. His stats at Talladega. He has a 5th place finish in 2021 in the fall. And he was on the pole twice in his career here, which were both in 2022. Might have a shot to go for the pole. He's tracking in the green to getting his way into the top 10 for right now. At least they have a shot at it. He's losing a little bit of time off turn 4, but I think he's going to at least maintain to beat Custer. Don't think he's going to have enough to pick up to get to Gibbs. So 10th it is for Christopher Bell. We'll see if he can hold on. 52.926. For Christopher Bell, only 15 one-thousandths of a second ahead of McDowell is now the gap between 10th and 11th. Ryan Blaney still has to go. I think he's definitely going to get in the top 10. And then Byron Hamlin Larson is a big question mark, so I don't think Bell's going to hold on. Although, Joey Logano is 8th, and Blaney doesn't seem to qualify as well as Cindric and Logano on the drafting ovals. Both last year and the earlier spring events this season, that has been the case. So, with that being said, maybe it's not a guarantee lock he's going to get a top 10 like I would have initially thought. It's a good start for Blaney through turns 1 and 2. Keeping his left hand off the steering wheel to try to put that hand up near the window net, block whatever airflow into the car possible. And he's seen a big pickup down the back straightaway, so he will get up into the top 10. I don't think he's going to lose time off turn 4. We rarely see that happen with guys who qualify today, and if so, it's not going to be as big of a drop-off as what it would be to take him out of the top 10. It's going to be a good lap. Just over 180 miles per hour on entry into turn 3. Ryan Blaney's a 3-time winner at Talladega Superspeedway, and he's finished first, second, and second in 3 of the last 5 races at Dega. In fact, both races here last season he finished outside the top 10, so those races were both in 23, and the fall race where he was runner-up to Chase Elliott in 2022. 4th for Ryan Blaney on his qualifying lap, 52.828. He was actually the fastest of the 3 Penske Fords in round 1, which is shocking because that usually isn't the case. And maybe that means he's got that much better of a car maybe this weekend than his teammates Cindric and Logano. I think I'm taking him to win. I hate taking the Penske Fords every single super speedway race at the next gen. I did that last year. It worked a couple of times. I picked Logano to win the Atlanta race he won. And then I picked Ryan Blaney, I think it was a spring Atlanta race, and he finished a nose just behind. It works at least one at a time. I think I have to just keep picking the same one. They're going to win at least one, you would think. So I think I'm going to take Blaney for the win tomorrow. He's had the most speed overall so far this season. And if he's going to qualify better than Cindric and Logano in both rounds of qualifying today, that tells me he's got a little bit quicker of a race car than the other two, so that narrows my pick down to Blaney. We'll have to see how round 2 of qualifying goes first before I finalize that decision. I want to make sure I finalize it here on the stream since we're not going to have the live commentary stream tomorrow, so with that being the case, I can't do the typical pre-race and give you guys my predictions. So I'll give the race win pick for today before we exit the stream. William Byron wrapping up his qualifying lap does not break into the top 10. I mentioned earlier Byron has 4 straight top 10 finishes here at Talladega, longest streak of any active driver, 7th or better in all 4 of those starts. He's had a top 5 in 6 of the last 8 stages. Stage 1, Stage 2, he's finished top 5 6 of 8 times with the next-gen car. So he runs up front for most of the race. He scores a lot of points. He could be good for your fantasy team. I mentioned he hasn't won here before, but he's finished second twice, 23 in the fall, 2021 in the spring. And he's got 5 drafting oval wins, 4 of them with the next gen, 2 Daytona 500s, 2 at Atlanta. Can he get his first Dega win tomorrow? He would probably be my best of the Chevrolets to go to victory lane tomorrow. I would probably take Byron for the Chevy camp. Denny Hamlin, 2-time winner at Talladega, both with the Gen 6 car. 2020, he had won the fall race, and 2014, he won the spring event. And 2020 fall race is actually my first trip to Dega. And I think that was the first time I had seen Denny Hamlin win in person, I believe. Trying to look back on it. I haven't seen him win much, even though he's got quite a few wins, especially in recent years when I have gone to quite a few races. He just doesn't seem to win when I'm there. Hamlin will not get the top 10, 13th, 52.983 for him. 7 top 10s, by the way, for Hamlin in his last 11 starts at Talladega. Very good, consistent finishes here, even with the next-gen car. Just hasn't gotten a win yet with the next-gen at this track. Best finish for Kyle Larson at Talladega is 4th 2 times. He's our last qualifier in round number 1. He's qualified in the top 5 in 4 of the last 7 races at Dega. And although there are no Hendrick cars in the top 10 in qualifying right now, he has had the speed with this next-gen car, obviously, to qualify up towards the front of the field. Maybe he will be the fastest of which. But as he works his way up off of turn 2, he's over a tenth of a second in the red, which would indicate he is not going to be anywhere close to Ty Gibbs' lap time. If he does pick up off of 4, it won't be that much. And so Ty Gibbs should hold on to our 10th and final spot of qualifying. Will be our fastest time. Ryan Preece 2nd, Kyle Busch 3rd, Ryan Blaney 4th, Austin Cindric 5th, Austin Dillon 6th, Josh Berry 7th, Chris Buescher 8th, Joey Logano 9th, Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10 in qualifying. Those will be our 10 drivers who will have a chance to go for the pole time in round number 2. And as for Kyle Larson, as he wrapped up his qualifying lap, 25th, 53.211 for Kyle Larson. Taking a picture before our leaderboard disappears for qualifying here, so I know the lineup when we get through round 2 of qualifying. And we'll go through the full field starting lineup as soon as qualifying finishes up. You'll get an interview from the pole sitter for the race as well before the end of the stream. 11th through 12th, you got Christopher Bell 11th, Cole Custer 12th, Denny Hamlin 13th, and again, I'll repeat this at the end of the stream. Michael McDowell 14th, Todd Gilliland 15th, 16th for William Byron, Chase Briscoe 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, 19th for AJ Allmendinger, and 20th, Bubba Wallace. Ty Dillon 21st, Brad Keselowski 22nd, Riley Herbst 23rd, Daniel Suarez 24th, Kyle Larson 25th, Tyler Reddick 26th, 27th for Noah Gragson, Carson Hocevar 28th, John Hunter Nemechek 29th, and Chase Elliott in 30th. 31st, Anthony Alfredo, Ross Chastain 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, Eric Jones 34th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 35th, Shane Van Gisbergen 36th, Justin Haley 37th, BJ McLeod 38th, and JJ Yaley will round out the field in 39th. And again, our top 10 yet to be determined as they will requalify for the top 10 positions here in round 2. Zane Smith, fastest time in round number 1. We'll end our chat poll here. 83 votes were casted. Chevy getting the top pole spot. Very close, by the way. 45% Chevrolet, 43% of you said Ford of the 83 votes. 12% had Toyota. Only Toyota to qualify in the top 10 was Gibbs in 10th. But a very tight poll there between Chevy and Ford. Kyle Busch was up in the top 5. Austin Dillon was 6th. They're going to have a big pickup or a big mistake maybe from Zane Smith. But the lap time for Busch is very close to that of Blaney and Preece that were just ahead of him. So there's a chance there if Zane Smith can't back up his lap time from round 1 to round 2. If he's able to do that, though, I think Zane Smith gets the pole. Emogene Blevins, Descent, thanks for tuning into the stream. A lot of Blaney fans in the chat today. Awesome to see. Again, as a fellow Blaney fan myself, hopefully he gets the win. All right, we'll take a quick break here. You're listening live. Jack League's 500 qualifying at Talladega continues on KRC. Rima in the chat, thanks for tuning in. Like to see Busch get the pole. Needs to turn things around. Yes, he does. He had a very good start to the year, and he has been slumping since, and it looks like the Busch of last season. Take a look at the point standings, in fact, right now as well while we wait for round 2 to begin. William Byron comes in with a 30-point lead in the standings over Denny Hamlin. He had almost a full race over second before the last race at Bristol, which did not go very well for Byron. For most of it, he had a decent finish, but no stage points at all through the first 2 stages. Hamlin scored quite a few, obviously was running second pretty much the whole race to that of Larson. So Hamlin eats into that gap a little bit. Byron's only win still the Daytona 500 to start the season, though he has 4 top 5s and 6 top 10s with 354 laps led, 3 stage wins to go on with the points lead. 15 playoff points are awarded to the regular season champion at season's end. After Hamlin in second, you got Christopher Bell, who has the most wins, 3, as he had consecutively earlier in the year in third. Kyle Larson 4th. Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 in points. He is the highest in the standings without a win. Ryan Blaney is 6th, Tyler Reddick 7th, Bubba Wallace in 8th, 9th for Joey Logano. Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10 in points. Austin Dillon standing with Jamie Little. Get a quick interview from him, and then we'll carry back on with the
thing that you could do do to better that lap here for your second try?
Well, it's nice and loud down here before we get to the second round, but just proud of the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet and Winchester on the side of things. Looks really good. RCR and ECR power. Obviously, we brought some steam this week under the hood. And, for me, I feel like just tidy up my line a little bit. Probably the best thing I can do is be as close to that yellow line as I can and try not to scrub any speed and see where we end up.
Hey, we're happy to have you. From here, you're going to go upstairs to the booth, join the boys, and call the Arkham and Art Series race. How about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun. You never know what's going to happen in those ARC races, so could get interesting and get to see stuff you never see before in an ARC race.
That's a good way of describing what we might see later today. Zane Smith was fastest in round 1 is standing with Larry McReynolds.
Sure. I heard my up to speed lap was pretty good. I felt like I had a lot of wheel spin, so try to control maybe a little bit more of that, but honestly a ton of speed in our Title Max Ford. So always fun being on a super speedway in a Ford, especially a front row motorsports one. So same way to put together another good lap.
Guys, the only thing that concerns me, he went so early. The running gear, the hubs have cooled down in this car compared to Ryan Blaney that just went a little bit ago.
Yeah, because
There's a couple of
usually you do see a pickup in lap time from round 1 to round 2 with these super speedway ovals because of what Larry McReynolds just said. So yeah, that longest cool down time with Smith going in the first handful of drivers. We'll see. I told him that I knew that time was going to stay up in the top 10 when he posted it earlier. I didn't think anybody was going to be that far off of where that lap time was set for the rest of qualifying. He also probably had cooler track temps at that time, being very early in the morning, closer to 10:30, which was over an hour ago from now. So that could have also probably helped his lap versus others late. Cooler track temps, slightly more grip. Could be the difference in speed by just that much. The rest of the playoff or regular season standing order through our first 9 races. Ross Chastain sits 11th in points, Chris Buescher 12th. Then you got Chase Briscoe in 13th. 14th is Ryan Preece. Now, because Josh Berry is slightly outside the top 16 in points, he is currently 17th. Top 16 make the playoffs. Kyle Busch would be the last driver in the playoff field as of right now. If it were to end today, the regular season would end. AJ Allmendinger would be just behind him, only 2 points back. Pretty good season, I'd say, for AJ. He was flirting with the playoffs when he ran full-time a couple seasons ago. He was in the top 20 in points a couple years ago, last time he ran in the Cup Series. So maybe not as much of a surprise as I would have thought this early in the year to be right there. I think it's really good for him because we got a lot of road course races left. That if he could run there in the points, maybe pick up a few. We haven't seen many winners so far this season. That could also obviously help, and AJ might be able to point his way in. Even without a win. Ty Gibbs, what a turnaround he has had just in the last couple of weeks alone. Remember, he was outside the top 30 for so long through the season. He's 20th in points now. He gained 6 more spots after Bristol a couple weeks ago, which was his best performance of the year. He's got back-to-back top 10s, a top 5, and he's scoring a lot of stage points because he's qualifying well. And here he is this weekend at Dega. Only Toyota to crack the top 10 in round 1 to qualifying. Quick turnaround for Ty Gibbs, and it was much needed after the abysmal start to the season. Brad Keselowski still searching for his first top 10, and maybe it could come this weekend at Dega. He might be able to get a win. For all intents and purposes there also. Again, definitely wouldn't be surprising. He's won here 6 times in his Cup career, second in both races last season. Forget the win, though. He just needs a top 10 at this point. Anything of that will be better than what he's had so far this year. Refresh our qualifying page here. We'll have the qualifying order on screen. Again, descending of how the top 10 qualified back in round 1. So we'll start things off with Ty Gibbs, who was 10th. And then Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Josh Berry, Austin Dillon, the first 5. The 5 after them will be Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Ryan Preece, and Zane Smith. And that will finish things off. 3 p.m. Eastern, just after then, will be the drop of the green flag on your local Fox affiliate for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race. Again, race highlights from the grandstands will be uploaded later that night following the race. And as far as today's live commentary coverage goes, the only bit that you will have for Talladega this weekend, triple header. Obviously, right now we are wrapping up qualifying. Round 2 will begin shortly. After qualifying, then we will have the NASCAR Xfinity race later on today, 4 p.m. Eastern. Before that, after this stream, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, ARCA General Tire 200. Here's Kyle Busch.
Hold what you got, So, feel like our NicoKick.com Chevrolet drove pretty decent right there, and yeah, just try to run it again, see what happens, But overall, always when you come to these plate races, you've got really good equipment with RCR and ECR. They do a great job at the Daytonas, the Talladegas. So obviously, feeling like you've got a really good shot and a really good chance to be able to go out there and score a win. And so does 30 others too, right? But you gotta miss the wrecks when the wrecks happen, and hopefully put yourself in a good spot to be the one leading at the end.
It's always good to see the boss man, RC Richard Childress, sitting on the fence. He's been talking to his teams, excited, hoping for the pole, but if not, the win tomorrow.
Thanks, Jamie. Well, let's go from 10th to 1st. The way they finished up round, Ty Gibbs was the 32nd driver to take time out of 39. So running very late in that first round. Will that be an advantage in the second?
Well, I think on the gears and hubs and all those things probably, but did it get that motor cooled all the way back down? That's always the balance of what you have. So we'll find out. I used to always like to sit in the car and you'd actually let air blow in the air and you would hold the gas pedal down to let that air run into the intake manifold and puff that intake manifold off and try to get as much cool in the engine as possible. So a lot of procedures to go through.
To that point right there, it's just mesmerizing to think about how many things that we've learned over the years, trying to get it all out of the rule package in which you're running under, and that's one of them. Just to hold it wide open. They probably have something to do it for you now, Kevin. You don't even have to sit in it anymore. A lot of tricks to the trade. Except the chromes, so we know when these times are this tight.
I love that drone shot. It really gives you a good vantage point of how those cars leave pit road and go straight up the racetrack as we continue to watch Ty Gibbs down the back straightaway. But no brake check this particular round. They've already done that in the first round, so they roll the cars off to where the end of that brake check was and just send them off straight onto the racetrack.
So between the top 10 in round 1, there was almost exactly a quarter of a second difference in times. Zane's went back to Ty Gibbs.
I like cleaning things up. Obviously, the brake check, what is that? You used to push back in our day, Kevin. You push the brakes back, meaning the pads weren't even on the rotors. Had to pump them up several times to get them back to the rotors where they would work. No drag whatsoever.
And that's why
not the safest thing in the world.
That's why they do that brake check in the first round to make sure the brakes are working. We saw Ty Gibbs slow down a few hundredths of a second right there. So that might be some of the conversation with the engine versus the hubs and gears and everything being wrong.
I remember one year I actually beat Mike Skinner somehow to a pole in a truck at Texas Motor Speedway. How'd I do it? We had the brakes pushed back. I was scared to death. I was like, this thing gets loose, I'm in bad shape. It hurts.
Joey Logano was the 20th driver to qualify, so he was right exactly in the middle of the qualifying session in his Penske Ford.
Then you see him go over those bumps right there. You'll go back and watch this video and say, man, I don't even know why I'm putting my hand up there. Bouncing up and down and all over the place.
I wouldn't even feel in the hole.
Really, really, really rough ride with the way that they set these shocks up to qualify these cars and keep them low to the ground. You want that ride height to stay as consistent as possible.
He's going to get a nice pickup. He was 52.91 in the first round. This is a 70. That is a 2/10 pickup.
Now, I alluded to that earlier, and I think that makes sense because of the lubrication in the gears, the hubs, the transmission, the drivetrain, all that stuff was warmed up. There is definitely juice to be squeezed in that. I look at Zane Smith. He's protected by a huge lap, right? His 66 is the only thing within 2/10 of him is Ryan Preece at an 80. I think he's still probably the guy to beat. There's no question, but that'll hurt him a little bit with that stuff cooled off, I think.
So Chris Buescher was 2 cars before Logano in first round qualifying, so should be in similar shape He was a 52.90 in round one.
The other aspect is you get better with everything. Your launch, you're going up through the gears, switch in the corners. You went back and you looked at it on SMT data. You're going to perfect all your things that you can do behind the wheel of that race car as well.
Well, when you look at the Ty Gibbs scenario, he went out really late, right back on the racetrack. That that definitely speaks to the engine temperature and the things in the car. But like you said, everything is so sensitive to doing all the little details right and being able to sit in that car, cool that car off. Logano, like you say, was in the middle of that qualifying session in the first round, so that might be the sweet spot.
I think doing all those things, it's again, and I've said it 1,000 times already, it's crumbs. It's not going to pick you up to 2/10, but you don't need that if you're not Zane Smith. All the rest of them within those crumbs that we speak of.
Chris Buescher picked up 14/100ths of a second. He's currently second. Here's Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers. His Mustang ran 52.90 in round one.
When you see the first place car, Joey Logano at a 70 and Buescher at a 76, Josh Berry losing a little bit of time through turns 1 and 2 right there. You see that time spike up a bit. Go up and down. You'll be able to see the bumps in the racetrack if you watch the timing right there move around. That's when those cars go on those bumps, and the rear tires actually the engine will pick up a little bit of an RPM for just a brief second over those bumps as the wheels get light.
Front end of that car is definitely bouncing around a little bit more than some of the others that I've seen.
And that's that balance. You want the car to be light, but you don't want it to bounce. You don't want it to start tapping that splitter on the racetrack to scrub speed.
So Berry picks up 11/100ths of a second. He is the
All right, so our first 4 qualifiers for round 2 are in. 52.7 flat for Joey Logano, almost a 2/10 pickup from round 1. Actually, just more than a 2/10 pickup for him. Chris Buescher second with a 52.761. Third is Josh Berry, 52.794. Ty Gibbs, 52.951, is fourth of our first 4 out of 10 again in round 2. Austin Dillon on racetrack right now as he crosses the start-finish line. It will begin his timed lap. Dillon was 6th in round 1, so that's why he's the 5th driver to go out, and he is tracking in the green as of right now to that of Logano. And he's there by a few hundredths of a second off of turn 2. Loses time just a bit as he got to the exit of the corner down the back straightaway, and that's where Logano might have had the 3 beat. And the red entering turn 3. Tailwind down the front stretch, and we shall see if he can pick up a little bit to at least bump Logano from the top spot. Logano, by the way, was 9th in round 1, so he's already out-qualified 2 drivers, about to be 3 when Dillon crosses the line because he's not going to get it done. Second for Austin Dillon, 52.736.
3. That is a pickup of 16/100ths over round 1. Now, Austin Cindric ran right after Logano in round 1 and Preece. He was the 23rd driver to qualify, and he ran a 52.87. And actually, it was the Winchester model 1873. Repeating rifle. The Winchester was a gun.
It was a Winchester. Mine was a massive guess, though.
Well, it was a good one.
We were selling Winchesters anyway on the side of the 3 ball, so Winchester it is. What year was it?
The model number was 1873. Okay. So it was around that time. Finishes up his run. He's going to be close. Looks like he's going to be top 3, maybe top 4. Let's see.
Nice smooth shifts there for Blaney getting up to speed. Saw Cindric kind of get through turns 1 and 2 pretty good, and then lose the time in the middle of the backstretch.
And look at that flag again. A little bit of breeze. Old Glory standing back out.
Cindric picks up 9/100ths. And here's Delaney's launch. Looks at, oh, he got into some water there and got a little squiggly coming off.
Yeah, the water will run out of those seams at the bottom of the banking, and as the track gets a little warmer, and it did rain last night, so definitely have to pay attention if you're the guys behind him to not hit that water.
A couple of weepers. Now, here's Ryan Blaney, who was fourth in round one with a 52.82. But he has much the same situation as Ty Gibbs in that he was one of the last four drivers to qualify.
Something I've been paying attention to. There's a timing line on the backstretch. I asked the stat guys, I said, give me the mile an hour over there. You just said he spun the tires and was slow on the launch. It's the only car that was 175 mile an hour. All the rest of them were 176. That slowed him down quite a bit.
Wow. Well, that speed, it starts as soon as you take off, and whatever that speed is launching, you'll see the difference as you get back to the start and finish line. So that everything starts as soon as you take off right here. So if you make a mistake right here, the whole lap is screwed up.
Well, it starts the momentum swing for sure.
From a 52.82 to an 8.
Yep, the Weepers got Ryan Blaney on that qualifying lap, 52.833. He is 6th of 7. Just before him was Austin Cindric. He is 4th with a 52.779. Kyle Busch is up next. 3 drivers to go to try to knock Joey Logano off the pole. The time to beat is a 52.7 flat. Kyle Busch was 3rd in round number 1. And again, that is why he is the 3rd to last to go out here in round 2. His teammate Austin Dillon is currently 2nd with a 52.736. We'll see if he can match that or beat him in this second round yet again. I'd have to go back through the history books. I don't know if Kyle Busch has ever qualified on the pole at Talladega. No, he hasn't, because I did look at that before the start of this stream. I forgot about that. Yeah, only 6 active drivers have won a pole in the NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega, but Kyle Busch is not one of them. Ran a lot of races here, over 40 of them in his Cup career. We'll see if he can get that first pole. It looks like he has got a shot to at least take Logano down. He lost a little time, though, off of turn 4. He's starting to give it back up through the tri-oval. It's going to be very close. Kyle Busch to the top, 52.696, 4 1/1000ths of a second quicker than Joey Logano's lap. Man. That was close. Ryan Preece and Zane Smith will be the last 2 drivers to qualify. Smith's lap from round 1 is still the quickest lap we have seen so far today. But can he back it up is the question. Can't make a mistake going through the gearing. Definitely don't want to hit the weepers like Ryan Blaney did with the standing water from the rain that took place last night at Talladega. Ryan Preece is tracking in the red right now, entering turn 3 on his qualifying lap, but it's only by a few thousandths of a second. He could pick that up as he exits turn 4. In fact, through the middle of the corner, he's a little bit better than what Busch was. But then he loses a little bit off exit. It's going to be tight again. Busch, Logano, and Preece are going to be right on top of each other on these qualifying times here. And Preece is not going to get the pole. He is 3rd, 52.7 flat, to the same 1,000th of a second that Logano ran his lap time to be in 2nd. But apparently you go past the 1,000th of a second marker behind the decimal, and that's where Preece is a little bit slower than Logano. But my goodness, I knew it was going to be tight. I didn't think it was going to be that tight. 4 1,000ths of a second separates 1st through 3rd in qualifying with one more driver to go, and that being Zane Smith, who was their round 1 top time. He had a low 52.6. If he can back that up, he's going to get the pole. He had the longest cooldown time on his engine of any driver. So far, so good. He's about 300ths to the good, 400ths to the good, exiting turn 2 on Busch. It's going to be tough to get that up in the second half of this qualifying lap. Busch is definitely going to be on the front row but I don't think he's going to get his first pole. Smith is still picking up time into 3 and 4. And this is going to be a faster time here in round 2 for Zane Smith. He's tracking to be in the 52.5s. Well over a tenth to the good. Zane Smith on the pole for the first time in his NASCAR Cup Series career. Will be the 7th driver active to score a pole at Talladega Superspeedway. Congratulations. 52.564. He creamed the field in qualifying today. Let me tell you, he was over a tenth quicker than Priest, who was second in round 1. Over a tenth quicker in round 2 than Kyle Busch. It wasn't even close. We had the dramatic pause before he went out and qualified just because he was the last guy out. It was all for nothing. Zane Smith gets the pole. Again, at 52.565. It was almost a tenth quicker than what he ran back in the first round, and over a tenth quicker than Kyle Busch here in round 2. A 182.174 mile per hour average for Zane Smith. And here's Kyle Busch, who will be on the outside of row number 1, standing with Jamie Little.
How much you had left, but you improved by 1 position. You'll start on the front row tomorrow.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. You know, great job by these guys. Everybody with Randall and Ben, and you know, great start for RCR and our Chevrolet. Austin's right up there as well too with his Vast Pro car. So looking forward to it. You know, it's obviously good to start up front. Hopefully you can hold that position and keep it up front. All about trying to score some stage points and stay out of the melee. And you never know where that comes from. Heck, it can come from even behind you, and you can be in it. But you know, solid start for the weekend. Just again proves that the RCR guys, when it comes to the plate racing stuff, we're on top of that, and feel good about coming to these places. So appreciate all the hard work.
Well done. Kyle Busch, we'll start on the front row, Mike.
Yes, those Chevrolets of Richard Childress, Bush and Dillon will start 2nd and 5th. Ty Gibbs 10th, and the whole rest.
All right, we'll go through the starting lineup for this weekend's Jack Links 500 at Talladega, starting with the front row. Zane Smith, Kyle Busch in row number 1. Row number 2 behind them will be the 3-time Dega winner Joey Logano alongside Ryan Preece. Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher in row 3. Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, row 4. And then 3-time Dega winner Ryan Blaney inside of row 5 alongside Ty Gibbs, who's the only Toyota to qualify in the top 10. His teammate, Christopher Bell, will start just behind him in row 6 on the inside. And then to the outside of Bell will be Cole Custer. In row 7, Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, Todd Gillen, William Byron. In row 8, Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman. In row 9, row number 10 is going to be A.J. Allmendinger and Bubba Wallace. Back half of the field now. We'll start off with row 11. Maybe. I don't know if my screen's paused or not. Oh, it was. It was paused. Got to rewind it. All right, Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski, row 11. Row 12 will be Riley Herbst and Daniel Suarez. Row 13, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick. Noah Gragson, Carson Hocevar in row 14. Row 15, John Hunter Nemechek and Chase Elliott. And rounding out the field, we got row 16, Anthony Alfredo, Ross Chastain, Cody Ware, Eric Jones, row 17. Row 18 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Shane Van Gisbergen, Justin Haley, BJ McLeod in row 19th, and row 19, and JJ Yaley rounding out the 39 car field in row 20. So that is your starting lineup for the Jack Links 500, and here is your pole sitter, Zane Smith.
There'll be a celebration at Front Row Motorsports tonight as Zane Smith has won the pole. So we go back up.
Oh. Trying to get caught up with the broadcast. I had to pause it a few
Always
times
special. Yeah, hats off to that team. Ryan Bergeni has got a modified racer from out of Plainville, Connecticut. So
trying to get caught up, guys.
qualifying coverage each week.
Oh, I missed it. Where is it? I want to make sure I get that interview out to you guys before I end the stream.
At Front Row Motorsports tonight.
You definitely missed it live. You're going to have to catch the replay of it. Oh, here we go. There's the middle of it. And we got to catch the beginning of the interview.
Larry.
Here we go.
Yeah, Zane, I asked you about 15 minutes ago, did you have anything left in this 38 car? Wow. Another 10th.5. You're on the pole by over a 10th at Talladega.
Yeah, I wish I could take a lot of the credit for it, but truthfully, just man, a really fast FRM Ford. Title Max on the car, so cool. Man, a pole sitter in the Cup Series, that's awesome. But just a huge shout out to all these guys. They've been doing an awesome job this year. So long race tomorrow. A great starting spot. So yeah, super stoked for this.
Well, Mike, I talked about at the top of the show. A pole is special, but a first career pole always special.
Yeah.
I can't wipe the smile off Zane Smith's face. That is for sure. He was the only front row motorsports Ford to actually qualify in the top 10, so that was very shocking to say the least. Gregory Bradley Thomas, Mayo, welcome to the stream. There towards the finish. Appreciate, everybody tuning in for this one. We have ARCA coverage coming up a little bit later on. Actually, it is very soon from now. We're going to go live in less than 15 minutes from the start of the ARCA race broadcast, ARCA live stream for today. And then we will have the Xfinity race later on at 4 p.m. Eastern. This wraps up our first of 3 live commentary streams. For those of you that may not check out the next 2 streams today, I will not be back tomorrow for the Cup Series race. I'll be at Talladega, as posted in the community tab yesterday as well. And the reason for that is because I will be at the race, and there will be a race highlight video from the grandstand, or multiple videos uploaded from the grandstands of tomorrow's action from my seats. And I will try to get those up as soon as I can. Going to be doing something a little bit different on that side of things. Usually I do it with the camcorder that I have. I'm going to try my phone so I can get a faster upload time to see if I can actually upload from the track as it's happening. I know Dega is a little tough with that. But going to try something a little bit different on that side of things so I can get the quicker upload to you guys so you're not having to wait till middle of the night for some of those uploads to get going based on when I get back to the hotel and then what the hotel Wi-Fi speeds are going to be like. So trying something a little bit different for this week with doing that. And then obviously then Texas the following week because I'll be at the Cup race at Texas. But for Texas Motor Speedway, kind of the same thing as today. I'll be doing live commentary for the truck race, the Xfinity race, and Cup qualifying at Texas Motor Speedway. But the Cup race at Texas, I will be in the grandstands for that also. Thanks for watching. As always, see you guys in a few for the ARCA race at Talladega.